All right, mates. Here we got the meat/meats principle of women plus negotiate my prenup and divorce with my wife. So it's meat/meats principle of women. This is literally it's basically the underlying logic of why all this stuff I do works. And yeah, basically with everything else I do, or same as like everything else I teach you guys, or most of this stuff, I'm the only one in the universe that knows this. So you can only get this knowledge from me. All right. So in this video, what are y'all going to learn? The meat principle of women, the meats principle of women, and the meats/meats principle of women. I'm going to give you some meat/meats examples. Then negotiate my prenup with my wife. Then negotiated my divorce with my wife. And some free game. Then two things I forgot in our first graph. A surprise from our first graph. And keeping most of your stuff in your divorce with me. Alright, so here's the intro. Who this video can help? Every single man going through a divorce in California. You know, if you've ever been through this intro, it's the same thing. Just skip to the next part. But if you're new here, who I coach 101, six-figure earning men in California who have been served with divorce papers and who want to keep most of your stuff in your California divorce. And if that is you, so if you have been served, you definitely do got to get a move on because you got less than 30 days to respond. Or else your wife can enter a form, request for default, and you basically get kicked out of the case and have no say. In my case, in my own California divorce, I kept 100% of my assets, $280,000, paid zero alimony, only paid my wife a one-time payment of $650. And this was with me, let's see, making, I don't know, let's say approximately 95% of the yearly income, me having, well, definitely 95% of the income that went towards the bills, me having actually 95% of the total assets of the divorce. So I was the mega breadwinner, had owned basically all the assets, and I got this amazing outcome when I could have been paying out the wazoo. And for me to get this result, I researched women 10 hours a day for 210 days straight. That's 7 months straight, so put in 2,100 hours of work. Then I filed for divorce and went to war and won against the most violent family law system in the universe towards men, the California family law system. And I've still done a few thousand hours of women research since then. Also a bunch of time on dates, plus banging a bunch of women. So I'm probably up to 6,000 to 8,000 hours of women research plus women interaction in my life. So, alright. Then the big main idea for all my vids, either everything I tell you is a lie, or you've been lied to your entire life. Only one of these can be true. But at the end of this video, notice you're unable to prove anything in my video is incorrect. And also go check out the comment section of this video. Notice how no one in the comments is able to prove even one thing I've said in any of my videos incorrect. Alright, so now we can get into it. So first we'll look at meat. So first heard this from Coach Greg Adams on like a year or two ago. He said, women want your meat, money, energy, attention, time. I said, oh, that's cool. That actually makes sense. That's right. And it's a cool word that makes it easy to remember. And he also has another saying you either pay on the front end or the back end. Back end being you pay via 50-50 asset split, alimony, potentially lifetime, and child support. Or you could just pay on the front end. You know, pay a goddess upfront in cash, bust, get back to work, and it's way cheaper on the front end. Also, on the front end, if you don't pay direct cash, you're still paying for clothes, your time, you're paying with your time, cologne, taking photos of yourself, setting up dating app profiles. So on the front end, you either pay directly with time, or you either pay directly with money, or you pay directly with time plus money. So you got to choose which one's best for you. So money, energy, attention, time. That's what women want from men. I said, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But then I felt about it a little bit more. We went down one level deeper. And I said, well, women also want sperm. So I changed it to meatS, money, energy, attention, time, and sperm. And then, I felt about it a little bit more. I said, no, that's actually not fully correct. And I went down the third level. This is where it's actually correct. And this is meat/meat. So women want money, energy, attention, time, and sperm, but if they feel you are weak sperm, lowercase s, they require a large amount of money, energy, attention, time from you. But if you are strong sperm, capital S, they require a low amount of money, energy, attention, time from you. And so that's the basic gist of it. And then we'll go into some examples of meat/meats so you can see it working in the real life. So again, meat/meats, if a woman feels everything's determined off of how strong a woman feels your sperm is. If she feels you're super strong, she doesn't really require anything from you except for your strong sperm. But if she feels your sperm is weak, super weak, then all she requires from you is maximum money, energy, attention, time to stay with you and to keep banging you. So let's look at some examples. Meat/meats for women in dating. All right, so what all men should do, and what I do, and this is the only thing I do, is I only spend time with women that feel I'm strong sperm. Definitely not, it's definitely not the majority of women I interact with feel that I'm strong sperm, or at least their number one strong sperm option at the moment. It's less than 1%. But I only spend time with these less than 1% of women that feels I'm strong sperm. So with dating, this means obviously you're banging on the first date if they feel you're strong sperm. And we can derive that easily because if woman feels you're strong sperm when dating, she's going to require a low money, energy, attention, time investment to receive your strong sperm. And what's a low money, energy, attention, time investment? Banging on the first date. I mean, there's nothing lower meat investment than that. And in my case, I've got down to a science where it's 5 text messages to get her to meet it. It's 5 text messages to get her to show up, and me knowing that she's high interest, aka I know that she feels I'm strong sperm. That's all that high interest means in women. If a woman is high interest in you, that means she feels you are strong sperm. That's all that it means. And low interest means she feels you are weak sperm. And so 5 text messages. I walk to the park 15 minutes away. We walk back 15 minutes to my place. Half of them come in, half of them don't. So okay, I wasted 5 text messages plus 15 minutes to get rid of the tire kicker. The half that come in, half come to my room. I tell them, give me a kiss right when we get in. Well, first they take their shoes off, then we go in, then I tell them to give me a kiss. Half do, half don't. So I kick out that other 25% that are tire kickers. So, I spent 5 text messages plus 20 minutes, kicked out the tire kickers. The remaining are 25% that actually showed up to the date. They're high interest. And we bang. So it just takes 5 text messages plus 20 minutes, and we're banging. So that's about as low meat as you can get, and those are the only dates that I do. Literally, if women don't go through my checklist, I just block and delete them. I don't even bother telling them I can't, so I just don't show up. Block and delete them or unmatch them. So let's look at this side of the equation. You could test doing this. Why not? I do feel it's good to have data from both sides, so you can see which one you like more. But this meat side, so when a woman feels you are super or weak sperm or super weak sperm, this is when the woman makes the man go on 6 dinner dates, 1 a week for 6 weeks before banging, or 9 dinner dates before banging. So a large meat investment. Let's say it's an hour dinner date, plus like 15 minutes there, 15 minutes back, plus 30 minutes to get ready. So that's 2 hours per dinner date, so that's 12 hours. Plus the man spent, $100 times 9, so that's, or what did I say? All right, let's say the 6-date example. So he spent $600 plus 12 hours to get the coochie because the woman feels the man is strong sperm. Or in my case, I get the coochie in 5 text messages plus 20 minutes. So, maybe that's plus getting ready, plus going there. I don't know, maybe it's 5 text messages plus 55 minutes. So it's like an hour total for me to get the coochie. Whereas this man's doing 12 hours plus $600 to get the coochie. And like, you can go look around and just read dating stuff on Reddit, watch dating YouTube videos, and you can start to see which side of the meat/meats principle applies to the people that you're hearing the stories of or hearing the stories about. So that's dating. Let's move on to prenup. So I negotiated my prenup totally wrong, but that's good because I got the data. So here's how I did it wrong. The way I did it wrong was I assumed my wife had the brain of a man. So I assumed it's gonna be like a car salesman, negotiating with a car salesman, and I was wrong about that. Which is one of the big things. First things I'll tell you guys is, if we talk DMs on Instagram, like I've talked to a lot of you, you'll notice the first thing I say is, well, the biggest mistake men make is they assume women have males' brains and see situations as a male would. That's incorrect because women have females' brains, and they see situations totally differently with their female brain. So what I did was basically I started here. So I did like car salesman negotiation. So basically I started far on my side, and I expected she would start far on her side, and then I would come in a little bit, and then she would come in a little bit, and then I would come in a little bit more, she would come in a little bit more, then I'd come in a little bit more, and she'd come in a little bit more, and we'd end here in the middle. And that is not what happened. And it was my first time negotiating something serious with a woman, so that's fine. Now I got the data, I can give it to y'all. What? Now I got the data, I can give it to y'all. So that's what I expected. That's not exactly how it happened. How it happens with women is this. So you're the man here. We can leave that. So that's the car salesman negotiation. And then this is, actually, I'll leave this here. Car salesman negotiation. How negotiating with women actually works. So now I'll show you guys what actually happens if you are to negotiate anything with women. So I'm still here. I'm still here. So you're the man, you start out here. Then the woman, I guess we can say she starts out here. She says she wants blah, 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 and you give her like half of blah, blah, blah what she wanted. So you come in a little bit. So what actually happens, watch this. The woman moves the goalpost farther away. And so it's literally like you gave her something, and now she's asking for more than she was asking for originally. And then if you do acquiesce on the second thing, she goes again. It's like, well, damn. Now we're still the same distance that we started with, but I just acquiesced to a bunch of stuff she wanted, and now we're we're still either the same distance as where we started, or we're even farther apart. And so how negotiating with women actually works. So let me put some labels here. So this is male. This is expected female, and this is male, and this is actual female. So this one in the videos you'll see me say women are literally they're the if you give a mouse a cookie book. So if you give a mouse a cookie, then ask for a glass of milk, then ask for this, then ask for that, then ask for that, then ask for that. And I was so confused when I went through this, because one, I'd never been badly behaved selfish men, and two, I'd never been around badly behaved selfish women. Like, all my women in my life prior to this point had always behaved perfectly. And now, say with my wife, until I asked her to marry me, which is when we started negotiating this prenup stuff, then she started acting terribly. And so, how negotiating with women actually works. And this is because this is literally the meatS principle in action. So we can say meatS principle in action. And that's because, here's why. Women know they are retarded. Therefore, if you take advice, or if you even care about a woman's opinion at all, they know you are a man that is choosing to be weak sperm. Because actually one of the tenets of sperm strength is having all the answers to women and basing your life choices off that, or not having all your life all the answers to women, and or not basing your life off of all the answers to women. So it's either you can't find all the answers to women, or you did find them and you rejected them. And both women will say, like, well, you're a retarded man, therefore you have retarded sperm, therefore you have weak sperm, and I don't want to reproduce. I don't want to receive the penis of a dude that has weak sperm. So, and I mean, we can see this right here. This was, we can say the original length. Let's see, where should I put this? Put it right here. The original length the amount of stuff like she would get in the, you would say she would get, because the prenup is just saying like who gets who in the event of a divorce. We can say this original is meat. And then we just added 2 hops. So basically we got, now we're going even farther. Zoop. So your lowercase meat turned into capital meat. Why? Because you took her opinions into consideration and said, okay, I'll give you that. And then she decided to take more and more. So this is how you go from boom to boom. Basically because you're taking her opinion into consideration, but women know they're retarded. So if your man is taking her opinion into consideration, that means you as a man, you're retarded. And retarded men have weak sperm. And look at that. She's taking more meat from you because you're lowercase s sperm. So this is meat's equation in a nutshell. So in my case, I start off here is basically like I keep in all my businesses from before the marriage and any assets before the marriage. Also keeping any businesses I start after the marriage, or any IP acquired or created, patents or trademarks after the marriage, or any business stuff, inventory acquired after the marriage. And it was also the same for her as well. So it's like husband and wife both keep all their stuff during the marriage, or keep all their stuff from before the marriage and during the marriage, and like that's the same for both of them. So both of them can acquire whatever they want during the marriage, and it's theirs. So like, it's only a bad deal for the woman if she's not planning to work and acquire anything of her own and just leech off my assets I acquire, or that 50-50, trying to get that 50-50 split. And then this is also in exchange for me paying, so it was like we both keep all our stuff acquired before the marriage and during the marriage, and I would pay her, I don't know if that was in the first version, but it was, so I'm not sure if this was in the first version I presented to her, but I think I also, eventually it was also like, and I'll also pay your health insurance for the time we're married together. And yes, I do think this was part of the first version, whereas basically we all keep all our stuff, even though the laws in whatever state we get divorced in could have community property laws. And for your divorce, the laws that matter is where you get divorced. So we got married in New York, divorced in California, is California divorce laws that applied. So you may not have known that, and I didn't really know until I asked either. So basically we keep all of our stuff acquired before or during the marriage. It's separate property. Second, I'll pay all your health insurance for the time we're married. Third, we did have an alimony schedule, which was, I think it was 0 to 5 years of marriage, she gets 0 alimony. 5 years to 10 years, she gets 1 year of alimony. 10 years plus the marriage, she gets 2 years of alimony, or it might have been 3 years, something like that. So we did have an alimony, option thing in there. And the lawyer said those had to be in there because it's called consideration. Basically, you're removing her option to take 50% of your stuff. You got to give something in return, like paying for her health insurance every month and giving her an option for alimony if the marriage does last a certain duration. And gave that to her. She went to her divorce lawyer. She was actually cool with it. First time we read through it together, I was like, hey, I'll read this to you. This is what you're getting. She was fine with it. She had, I gave her her own divorce lawyer or her own prenup lawyer, which they are divorce lawyers, but I paid for her prenup lawyer as well. And then after talking with the prenup lawyer, she came back trying to get super ton more. And I think we did like 2 or 3 rounds. We did like 2 or 3 rounds where I thought it would be this, where we'd meet in the middle. And again, I don't remember if health insurance thing or the alimony schedule was in the first version. I'm not sure. It might have been. But what actually happened was she started asking for more and more. Like once she realized I would acquiesce on one thing, she tried to get me to acquiesce on like 5 things, and then 10 things, and then 20 things. So our agreement ended up being, we may not have had the alimony schedule in that first version, but probably the health insurance we had. So I think maybe I acquiesced on an alimony schedule for a certain length of marriage. But I definitely know what was not in the original, my first version, because I created the first version and then gave it to her, first offer. What we did negotiate on and agree to was, so it was not part of the first version, but it was the one we eventually agreed on, which was we would set up a joint bank account with both of our names on it. Any assets bought with funds from that joint bank account would be jointly titled in our names and owned 50-50 by both parties, no matter whose money was put, how much money put into that joint bank account, which I thought was fine. I felt was fair, because again, I could decide how much money I put into that joint bank account. I could put in 0 if I didn't want to put any money in. I also did talk to my lawyer, and he's like, make sure you keep your bank account separate. If you take money out of the joint bank account and put it into your own, that contaminates it, makes it your own. It makes my own bank account money will be considered joint marriage money. So I was very careful. I would only ever put money in to that bank account. I would never ever take it out to my own to keep that siloed effect good. Basically, I keep forgetting what she was asking for more and more and more. Even after I'd acquiesced on, the alimony schedule and the joint bank account, and any assets purchased would be 50-50 owned by both parties. A big thing for me was I wanted to keep my own bank account separate because I was doing a ton of e-commerce selling at the time. So I wanted the freedom to buy e-commerce inventory. I was buying like 100,000 of inventory, 150,000 of inventory at a time. I didn't want to like put all my money into one big pot and like have to ask her permission to go build my businesses because her name was on the account as well. So that's why I wanted to keep my stuff separate, so I could invest how I want to invest, e-commerce stuff and crypto, without having to have a discussion with her about it. And the money in the joint bank account, okay, I put it in there for the both of us, but I didn't want to fight about how we should invest. Also for her, if she wanted to invest in something, oh cool, it's your bank account, it's your money, do as you want. And all right, so prenup negotiation, she kept moving the goalposts, and I was like, I didn't know how to deal with it because I'd never been with a dude that like I never like had dudes that would just like take more and more and more and more, and I'd never been with a badly behaved woman that would just take more and more and more and like wouldn't know when to stop. So I literally had to go into my lawyer's office. We had been doing everything over email, and I was like, how do I get her to stop asking for more and more and more and more? And he just told me, you got to tell her no. I was like, oh. It was interesting because I'd never been around someone that like didn't know how to behave rationally, and like I'd never, literally my whole life, I was 23 at this time, I'd never been with someone who I had to tell no. Like it seems like everyone I had been around in my life up to that point just like knew how to behave and like knew how to, I don't know, general normal fairness stuff. So like me telling someone no, I didn't even have the concept of how to do that because I just grew up around like normal people that wouldn't try to take you for all you're worth or like take way more than was logically fair. So that was my first experience with that. And so my lawyer said that, I was like, he's like, you gotta tell her no, we accept this, you accept this, or we're not getting married. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, that doesn't make sense. And I literally had never dealt with someone I had to tell no with in my whole 23 years of living before that. So I did tell her no. You sign this or we're not getting married. Which probably, if the prenup was challenged, would probably not be a good thing to have happened. So I definitely think I did 3 things wrong with the prenup. Well, one, the best thing was, the thing I did correct was getting it done. I don't know the stats. Heard a dude called Black Dragon said only 3% of couples get prenups. I have no idea if that's true. To me that seems low. More like 13% would probably be more believable to me. Maybe 10%. But maybe it is super rare to get a prenup, I'm not sure. I haven't researched it. So that was good. Now the things I did bad. We didn't start this prenup stuff. Well, I told my wife, hey, we're getting a prenup if we get married. I told her that in May 2018. I decided to ask her to marry me at the end of June 2018. I didn't have that plan in my head when I told her in March 2018 that, hey, we're getting a prenup. And she was cool with getting a prenup in March 2018 when I told her. But I didn't actually give her the first revision of it until I didn't start working on it with the lawyer until end of November 2018 with a marriage date of December 26, 2018. So it was about like a month away. And I had already asked her to marry me at the end of June 2018. I was trying to finish up a written album. Before then, didn't get done. So that's why I started the prenup stuff late. And I think I may have gotten her the first revision on like December 10th, maybe December 12th. So it was literally just 2 weeks before. And yeah, she was fighting it the whole way. Felt like we were stabbing each other in the souls. I don't know at the time I didn't know why she was fighting it so hard. I was like, this seems fair to me. But, you know, it's that graph I showed you. All women know male-female relationships are programmed to end. So she was trying to get the maximum for when it ended, because all women know that male-female relationships are programmed to end, and she knew it as well. So yeah, I definitely started late. And she was like, she's trying to blame it on me. She's trying to blame it on, I didn't know what would be in the prenup. And I was like, you had 6 months to research it yourself. Why didn't you research it? And she was like, blah, 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 trying to blame it on me, that she didn't know what was going in the prenup. When I had told her like 6 months earlier, hey, we're going to get a prenup if we get married. So she was blaming me for her not doing her own research, which was all BS. Women have PhDs in extracting resources from men. That's how they've survived for 10 million years, was always extracting resources from men. So she definitely knew what was going in it. Or at least a vague idea that it'd be to protect my assets, not to give her more, because the law's already like 50-50 to give to her. So I definitely started too late, which is fine. I mean, everything worked out. Second was, I shouldn't have negotiated it with her at all. I should have just stuck with the first offer and told her to accept it or no. But I thought I was being nice and being like logical, negotiating with her. But that's the exact wrong thing to do. You can see right here, because they move the goalposts if you acquiesce to them. Because again, it's just the meatS principle. And then third, what was the third thing? I guess not knowing when to say no, or even knowing that was an option. Again, I'd never been with someone who like hadn't said no, or like I'd had to say no to. So it was definitely strange to me. So yeah, starting too late, negotiating with her. Anything else? I thought there was a third thing, but I can't really think of it right now. I think those are like the biggest things. But we signed it, I think, December 23rd, maybe December 24th. I think it was December 23rd. And she was like cold mode, like not talking to me at all. I thought it was bizarre. But now I know it's because she knew she was, it was male-female relationships are programmed to end, so she was trying to get the maximum payout from that. But look, if you don't acquiesce to what she's asked for, she'll sign whatever you tell her to. So, as I've said in videos before, women requesting stuff or like asking for stuff in negotiation, it's just a sperm strength test. If you fail it, like I did in the prenup, they ask for more and more and more. They move the goalposts. So I definitely did fail the prenup one, but that's how good I am at winning. Even when I fail at something, I still find a way to win. That's why it's awesome to be me. Alright, so that's enough of this paint. What do we got next? Yeah, so definitely the car salesman is what I thought would happen, but what actually happened. So that's negotiating prenup with women, and so yeah, it blends in with the meatS principle. Then divorce, I said, well, negotiating with my wife is definitely not the way to go. I don't think I had knowledge of the meatS principle at the time of negotiating my divorce. It was 3 years later, so it was November 2021 when we signed it. So I served her like end of October, I think, and she signed it 3 weeks later. And this one, I presented my best offer to her, which was this. I keep all my stuff, you keep all your stuff. I'll give you $650 because the joint bank accounts have $1,300, and I'm giving you zero alimony. And so even though we signed a prenup, if a woman doesn't feel a prenup's valid, they won't follow it. So do we use the prenup in the divorce? No. Here's how divorce works. Option 1, you get a signed divorce settlement agreement outside of court. If you do that, you bypass everything. I did that, so I bypassed everything. Option 2, if you don't get the signed divorce settlement agreement outside of court, you go to step 2, which is you go to court. and either you go to court and both parties. So option 2 is you go to court, both parties agree on the prenup, and the judge just implements the prenup, and that's the judgment rendered. Option 3 is you can't get the divorce settlement agreement outside of court, so you got to go to court. And option 3 is one of the parties does not agree on the prenup, and they it's called contesting the prenup. So they pay to have their lawyer argue in court why the prenup's not valid. And see, the thing that stinks in California divorce is the lower earner, basically always the wife, because of hypergamy. Women marry across and up in socioeconomic and status hierarchies. So basically, the man is basically always earning more than the woman. Woman can checkmark a box to say, have higher earner husband pay my legal fees. So I could have been on the hook for paying my wife's legal fees to challenge our prenup that we both already signed, maybe $20,000 in legal fees or whatever. I actually asked my lawyer, hey, if she checked that box, how much could she have, how much could I have needed to pay for her legal fees? And the divorce lawyer said, up to the maximum you have in your bank account, the maximum you got. So I was like, oh my God. So my divorce strategies, they not only get you out safely, they prevent your wife from even marking that box to have you paying for her lawyer. Because in our divorce, my wife did not even get a lawyer. I didn't tell her to get one. I didn't tell her not to get one. Well, let's go back down here. So we're following where we're at. Divorce. I presented her the divorce settlement agreement. I gave her all the forms, divorce forms at once, and the divorce settlement agreement at once. I didn't tell her to get a lawyer. I did not tell her to not get a lawyer. I just presented to her hey, this is what we're doing. I remembered from the prenup that acquiescing to anything she asked for just turned her into if you give a mouse a cookie. So I wasn't planning to negotiate at all. What I offered was the maximum I was willing to offer, and I was comfortable standing there and never ever negotiating. And I did not tell her to get a lawyer. I did not tell her to not get a lawyer. I didn't talk to her about lawyers at all. I just helped her. I gave her, hey, this is the divorce settlement agreement. I helped her with her side of the paperwork because we were still living together. The only time she negotiated was at the 11th hour, right when we went to the notary to have it signed. I actually sat there and read through it with her because I guess maybe for myself, so she couldn't say in the future, oh, I didn't know I was signing. Maybe I would have felt guilty and give her money or something. Because I definitely have noticed negotiating with stuff with her, she definitely tries to put the guilt on me. But again, the woman putting guilt on you is just a meat's sperm strength test. Everything women do is a meat's sperm strength test. Don't get it twisted. So we're in the car, we'd parked, we're at the notary's office to sign this thing. I actually read through it all with her. And I guess basically for my own conscience to know that hey, she did know what she's signing. I didn't screw her over. She could have said no at any time. Turns out me reading the thing to her was the wrong choice because right in the car she was trying to negotiate. She started trying to negotiate for the first time. She started saying, well, you're going to leave me with no, you're going to leave me on the street, pay for X months of my rent or something. I just kept telling her, we'll talk about it later. So just as we're parked in the parking lot, or parked on the side of the road, we're in downtown LA, and we're about to go into the notary's office. It's 8 p.m. at night. My wife's going to Ecuador with her friend for 2 weeks. Tomorrow, the next morning, 4 a.m. I'm trying to get this done and over with because I'm probably going to move out while she's out vacationing, move out of the apartment. I'm really wanting to get this thing done. I've been hounding her all weekend. It was I think it was a Tuesday night when we were doing this, or Monday night. I've been hounding her all weekend to let's get this paperwork, done. And she wait until the last minute right before she goes on vacation to get this thing done. And literally all the notaries are closed except for one dude. So I read her what she's going to sign. She's trying to get me to pay her, put in there to pay her rent. I didn't say yes, I didn't say no. I said, hell, we'll talk about it later. Just over and over again. We'll talk about it later. Then eventually I just opened the door, got out of the car, and she followed me in and signed it. So one, I definitely think if I would have acquiesced to paying her a rent, she would have gone back and like said, oh, I'm not signing this thing then, we're gonna go renegotiate this. So I didn't like, I think it was just instinctual, like, cause like I didn't have a plan for if she tried to negotiate something. Like my plan was just to not negotiate at all, and she didn't negotiate right at the end. I think a better thing for me to do would have been to just ignore her, open up the car door, walk in to sign it, and she probably would have followed me. So I did. So what I did work. Me saying, "Oh, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it later." Definitely didn't want to say yes. I also didn't want to say no because I didn't want to get into an argument. I was literally just trying to avoid an argument. Because then if you get into an argument, the woman's emotions get ramped up, and then you got no idea what's going to happen. And I was like, oh, we're so close to getting this signed. I just decided to go with the neutral, we'll talk about it later, we'll talk about it later, we'll talk about it later, which probably was the second best option. The first best option probably would have been ignore her, just open the door and walk in, and she probably would have followed me. And I believe she asked for X months for rent because I read the divorce settlement agreement out loud to her. It was the first time we read it together. Maybe she read it before because she had it for 3 weeks. Maybe she didn't read it. I have no clue. But just looking at the meatS principle, since I sat there and read it to her, she felt me doing it was weak sperm. Therefore, she requested more meat from me. And that's why now looking back on it, I realize, I probably any time you do something where a woman feels you are weak sperm and she requires more meat from you, that just means you did the wrong thing. So, and probably the wrong thing was having a conscience when she probably wanted me to slaughter her. She's like, why are you being nice to me? Why aren't you slaughtering me? And why are you being nice and reading this thing out loud to me? Like, I want to be slaughtered. Look, this is how women's brains work. And it's how I've gotten out of this mess safely when I could have been destroyed. So, it all worked out. She signed it. She had her ID. She signed it. And is accepted by the judge. Entered into a judgment. I got free having to pay her zero, or just $650. So that's divorce. Then negotiations. And this kind of goes with dating. After my divorce, lived in LA for another year. Then I actually created an account for myself on Tinder, Bumble, Badoo. So there's the 3 dating apps. Moved them digitally to 180 different cities. Left them there for 24 hours. And counted the amount of likes I got in each place. And I tallied it up. I kept a lot of data. And so got divorced, and at the end of 2021 lived in LA for all of 2022. Then first 6 months of this year I went to my city where I tested for my most random women out of 180 cities I tested, which was Lima, Peru. And I banged 12 different women in 12 weeks. It's either 12 or 13. I'm pretty sure it's 12. 2 from Instagram, 10 from dating apps. And probably the bulk of those, I funneled the dating apps to my WhatsApp and did a lot of WhatsApp stories to sell them on meeting up with me. But negotiations with women, even with dating, I did a lot of testing where a woman would change the time on the date and I'd acquiesce, and then they wouldn't show up, they'd ghost me. Or I'd tested a few times, and each time the meatS principle proved true. Basically, one, if she tries to change it, she's already feeling like you're not really strong sperm. So now I just know, I just block and delete when they change it. But I decided, since I was running high volume of women, so yeah, I moved to Lima for the first 3 months of this year, tested out other Peruvian cities the other 3 months, because I stayed there for 6 months in Peru, just to test out different sexual marketplaces. And I even found, in dating, if a woman try to change the time, it's guaranteed they don't feel you're a strong sperm, so I just block and delete. But I did test to, acquiesce and just see what happened. Because I was running such high volume, I didn't care if dates went bad or I didn't meet up with some of them. I probably did like 40 to 50 dates in those 3 months, 12 weeks. So what's that? 3.5 to 4 dates a week for 12 weeks straight. Yeah, just I tested a bunch. Women that try to change things, sure, I'll test it. Women that we'd meet close to them. Actually, I never met close to them. I already know that didn't work. But I always had them meet like literally 10-minute walk from me, Starbucks. And then I changed it to meeting at a park. So we never sat down. We would always be standing up. And it's easy to walk back to my place. It's not a big change compared to going from sitting down at Starbucks, then getting up and walking. Yeah, so I definitely tested letting the women change the time, maybe from 7:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. or 7:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. And, I would acquiesce from 7:30 to 8, and then I would turn out, oh, can we meet at 9 p.m. instead? Or they would ghost and not even show up at 8. So I recognized that pattern pretty quickly. And like a lot of things I do in volume, because that's the best way to test. So yeah, I literally move around the world to get the data I need to, or to get high volume so I can test all these things. Another thing I would do is a few, 2 to 3 women would show up like 45 minutes late, an hour 15 late, an hour 45 late. Yeah, I would still go show up. Why not? Just to see what would happen. No, they didn't feel I was strong sperm, so we never banged on the first date with those. Actually, there was a woman that showed up 45 minutes late that we did bang on the first date. But like, that's super rare. Alright, it was basically like default, every woman's late. I only had one woman show up before the start time. Or like, 5 minutes before, or 2 women. One I didn't want to bang. One I did, so we did. But both of them came back to my place. Yeah, one of them was definitely not a hot woman. But yes, I run a lot of volume. Everything always all females' behaviors always conforms to meat/meats principle. Like again, when the women came late, hour 15 late, hour 45 late, right here, they feel I'm strong sperm, so they required me to wait or they feel I'm weak sperm, so they required me to wait an extra hour 15 to see them. And yeah, this is my first time testing. I'm running high volume. Sure, I'll go. It's just 10 minutes for me to walk there. And if they, even if they were super late, if I had another date set up, cool, I would just like block and delete them. But if I didn't, I would just work on my computer and then just like go there an hour later. That was fine with me until I, recognize the pattern. Like, oh, all right, we're definitely probably not banging on this first date. So now I just block and delete them. So it's negotiations. meatS equation. All right, this will be good. Let's give me some more space here. So, all right. So meatS equation. I thought of this in my head like I don't know, a few weeks ago. So, what's going on? Oh, I'm white. Mighty whitey. Alright, so here's the meatS equation. Boom. Boom. So, we got, I guess we can call this 0. Call this 100. Oops. And the equation I'm going to show you is, here's the equation I'm going to show you. Meat plus S equals 100. You can say this like 100%, or like meat plus sperm equals 1. 1 equals 100%. Yeah, maybe I should put this as meat plus sperm equals 100%. Always, 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 always. And here we go. We got this dude, and we got this dude, and we got about this dude, and we got about this dude. Alright, so here's the, what do I call this? the meat's equation. So this goes here, and this goes here. So the meat's equation is this. We'll say this one is meat, and this one is sperm. And this x-axis. This x-axis is, how should I say this? Maybe like type of man you are. So this is the man. So let's say you're a man right here. That means can I get dotted here? I don't know how to do dotted. So that means you're here. Boom, 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 boom. So maybe you're 10% sperm. You know, your sperm is 10%. Your meat is 90%. That's terrible. That means you gotta give 9x more meat. You know, 90 plus 10 equals 100. This is probably the dude where it's 9 dinner dates to get banged once. So it goes over like that, and it goes over. So you just go where you intersect here. So maybe this is 90, maybe this is 10. So this is how this graph works. And basically, you want to be, well, you want to be like here. I'm probably like somewhere over here. I'm like God sperm at like 150, and meat at like -50. So the women are paying me in meat to see me, paying their money, energy, attention, time to see me. And that is true, because I had women come 3.5 hours one way to see me in Lima, 3.5 hours home. Another woman, hour 50, basically 2 hours, come see me, 2 hours to go home. So definitely my sperm strength is super high that women are paying meat to come see me. And I could keep going, like have them, like, oh, you gotta come 2 hours and you gotta bring me dinner, you know, or something. You gotta bring me a gift. So is how it works. You probably want to be over here. So instead, you know, your sperm here is 90%, and your meat is 10%. That's where you want to be. And let's look at some ways to transform this. So just first off the bat, if you give women, the more meat you give a woman, so how do you give more? So the more meat you just naturally give a woman. So the more you go this way. Let's say you started out giving her this much meat. So you're 55 meat, 45 sperm. If you just give her more meat, eventually you're going to be 80 meat, and she's going to feel your 20 sperm. So the amount of meat she give you is really a lever you can operate. And just according to this, however much meat you give her, she'll feel your sperm is here. So example, you give her more meat, like you talk to her every day. The more you talk to her, the higher frequency you talk to her, the more time you spend with her. You're going up this graph, which means you're increasing your meat, your attention and time you're giving her, and energy, which in her brain decreases how she feels about your sperm strength. Conversely, if you go this way, which means you can go this way by 2 ways. You can decrease your meat, or you can keep the same meat and just increase your sperm strength as well. Like, so there's 3 ways. One, you can decrease the meat you give her. So, the way I do this is, if women text me, I tell them, and I want to spend time with them. If they text me and I want to spend time with them, I tell them I don't have time for messages, propose a date. That's all I do. And then literally I ignore their messages until they propose a date. Because I know when they propose a date, they're saying, I want you to insert your penis in me. And then I tell them, okay, we'll meet tomorrow. Normally they'll hit me up a day or two before and they'll say, hey, let's meet this weekend or something. So I'll say, hey, or tomorrow. So I'll say, hey, or sometimes they'll say, hey, it's me tomorrow. I'll be like, no, come here today, 7 p.m. and they'll come. So the way you decrease your meat is you just don't talk to them. Literally, your secret message you got to send them is just, I don't have time for messages, propose a date. And then you ignore. They're going to send you for the next X weeks, they're going to try once a month or once a week to send you something to get you to respond without proposing a date. So they'll still do a sperm strength test on you, even if you say, oh, only message me if, I don't have time for messages, propose a date. They'll literally still message you, not proposing the date, to see if you'll give them more meat and break your lie that you told them to do. And if you do give them more meat, what they do, they fill your weak sperm and they never end up setting the date. So you just say it, you continue to ignore them, you continue to give them lower and lower meat until they propose the date, then eventually they propose the date, and you bang. Why? Because you've increased your sperm strength in her brain. So now you're here, so you've increased your sperm strength to here by decreasing the meat you give her to here when you used to be over here. So one way to increase your sperm strength is decreasing your meat. The other way, you could keep meat constant and just increase your sperm strength. By how? Becoming a god at whatever. If you're, let's say you're the best musician. Let's say you talk to her the same amount, 1 hour a day. You go from, zero musician, you're on your couch all day, to, you're Drake. Even if you give her the same meat, she would have felt your stronger sperm when you had no status, but when you're superstar status, it makes a bigger percentage of the meat plus sperm equation, and so she'll still feel your stronger sperm even if you are giving her the same amount of meat. Or the best thing to do would be decrease the meat you give to women and increase your sperm strength at the same time. So that's doing both of these at once, so then you get double the good results. What else is there? Yeah, so there's you can either pull one lever at once and keep the other one constant. So keep your sperm strength constant and decrease the meat you're giving to her. So how can I draw this? So you can do sperm strength constant. I'll just talk. So there's 3 options here. Keep sperm strength the same, decrease meat. That's going to put you up here. Increase sperm automatically via this equation. Increase how strong she perceives your sperm according to this equation. Option 2, keep giving her the same meat, but increase your own sperm strength. Increase go to the gym, get jacked, get more income, become more powerful, build a bigger tribe of men that you lead. So those all increase your sperm strength while continuing to talk with her 1 hour a day or whatever. Both of those I feel are suboptimal. I like the third option, which is you decrease the meat you give her and increase your sperm strength at the same time. So that gives you plus 2x increase your sperm strength. And it makes sense because the hour a day you were talking to her, now you're taking that and earning more income, or in the gym more, getting more muscles. So she's going to see you as stronger sperm just because you did increase your sperm strength by leveling up. Plus, she's going to double see your sperm is stronger because you decreased the meat you're giving to her. So I like doing both. But that's basically it. Yeah, that's basically everything for the meets, what did I call this? The meets equation? The meets equation, yeah. And I'll put something here. Oops. Yeah, let's say you're a man here, you're a man here. Line size, outline. Okay, looks like I can't put any. I'll fix this picture to how I want after. But it's fine, that's the meat equation. Now I'll do the meat's horseshoe, which actually is really just a subset of the meat's equation. Same as it'll be similar to what I showed you in the video before. Alright, so let's go down here. Alright, so meat's horseshoe. So what did I say? This is the pleasure. Yeah, this is like the pleasure that women feel in their pleasure centers of their brain. Because men and women's pleasure centers are different. Pleasure women feel. Pleasure women feel. Let's put it right here. Pleasure women feel. And this will be 100. This will be 0. This will be 0. Oops. And now we got the horseshoe. And up here at 100, basically, well, we got 2 spots on the 100 zone here. What is going on? Am I screwing something up? Okay. Two spots on the 100. Oh, pleasure feel. I'm actually I'm gonna change a line here. I'm actually gonna put it like this. I'm gonna put this equation like this. Alright, so this will still be this. This will still be pleasure women feel. Here it's 100. So what do we got? We got 100. We got 0. And down here we got negative 100. All right, so we got a woman here, a woman here, here. So these are like these are 5 positions we'll cover, but women can be somewhere in all these. All right, so we got our overarching meat equation. 100% over here. Basically, We got, oh, here's how I can label this. I could label this, I'm trying to think of how to label the x-axis. I could label this as, there we go. So over here, fuck boy. So this is, I guess the x-axis we'll call it, like relationship type. So this one here is fuck boy. This one here is husband. Husband. And then maybe like boyfriend will be these other two. Let's see. So that's a boyfriend, that's a boyfriend. Alright, so let's look at this. The pleasure women feel. And alright, that's fine. So basically here, husband. We got the husband's giving maximum meat, money, energy, attention, time. The wife feels he has his sperm super weak. So basically, no, might be that for weak sperm, but it's even worse than weak sperm. It's like 0 strength sperm, so there's no sperm from the husband. But women still want strong sperm, so she's getting it from a dude on the side. So that's your meat's equation for husband. Yeah, I've been here, the meat's dude, or the meat dude, and I'm guessing wife is getting some on the side. I never looked at her phone, so I don't know for sure, but probably. Because women have to trade the coochie for male's resources and to line up the next man after the current relationship ends. So that's why I think that's what happened. Or that's what happened to all men with their wives. What else do we got? Now we'll go over here. The F-boy. So the F-boy is right here. The F-boy gives just the woman strong sperm. It's like me and Lima. You notice there's no meat sperm here because I gave 5 text messages plus like 20 minutes of my time to bang, so there's no meat there. Plus they probably go home to their meat provider boyfriend or husband, and equals 100%. So this is from the POV of being the F-boy, POV of being the husband. The boyfriend, maybe doesn't have too much money, so maybe he's a meat, and this sperm's okay. Equals 100%. So actually I gotta do this different. I'm gonna make him a little bit bigger. So let's say, it's like medium strength meat plus medium strength sperm. That's what I'm trying to say here. It goes 100%. And over here for the boyfriend, again, well maybe the boyfriend's like medium strength meat, and she's getting medium strength sperm from some other dude, or from the boyfriend as well. And over here, it's either the same boyfriend or it's some other dude with medium strength sperm. So it's kind of like in the middle. Pleasure women feel. No, they wouldn't be feeling 0 at this. They'd probably be feeling 50. So maybe my initial graph was correct. 50. Actually, what I'll do. Yeah, so maybe this is 50 pleasure. Women would prefer to be getting more meat, and both these situations prefer to get more strong sperm. Which again, this is when women pushing. This is women pushing for marriage. Marriage is just more meat to the women at the cost of strong sperm. But once they get the meat from the man, they'll just go bang another dude on the side, like up here. So I'll say this pleasure here is 50. And down here, this is, so that's 150. Yeah, this is like zero pleasure. Could we call it zero pleasure? I guess. It's more like zero pleasure plus 100% discomfort. So maybe we could call this zero pleasure. If you say discomfort is the opposite of pleasure, you know, is the inverse of pleasure. Oops. So I guess we could say this as 0. Oh, okay, it's already there. 0. So this is actually maximum discomfort. And this is basically maximum pleasure up here. So what I'm going to do is do that, do that, do this, pleasure women feel, and this is up here is maximum pleasure. And notice, so maximum pleasure here, and notice up at the maximum pleasure, maximum sperm strength and maximum meat on both sides of the horseshoe. What is this? This is the dual mating strategy of women. Alpha fucks, beta bucks. They want maximum beta bucks from the meat dude, maximum alpha fucks from the strong sperm dude. So, and like, this is what women want, just instinctually. Why? Because it's maximum pleasure for them. And why is it maximum pleasure? Well, they're getting the best resources and the best sperm, so it's the best probability to continue to survive and the best genes to reproduce with. So your DNA is with the best genes. So we just derived female mating strategy, the female dual mating strategy, via the meatS equation. All right, and so here, this is literally meat plus S equals 0%. That's what down here, maximum discomfort. So they're getting 0%. They're getting no meat from a man. And they're getting no sperm from a man. And we can, let's put this at like 6. Okay, maybe I'll put it at 8. Oops. Meat plus sperm equals 0%. So this is maximum discomfort for a woman. We'll put this at 8. And why is this maximum discomfort? So they're getting 0 meat from a man. They're getting 0 sperm from a man. So what does that mean? Well, let me go back here. Everything we talk about women, go back here 10,000 years ago. And literally, so let's say they're in the 10,000 years ago, they're in this long hot, maybe it's summer out, maybe it's been a snowfall, whatever. But let's say women are getting 0 meat and 0 sperm, from a man. What does it mean? Well, the only way, like, women wouldn't be getting meat or sperm from a man is if there are no men around. And that, because if there are men around, someone's going to give meat to the woman to get access to the punani. And the woman's going to give the punani to some man who's given her no meat because he has strong sperm. And if there are no men around, that means no protection, no food, no water, aka aka certain death. And again, this is correct, because remember in the video, the previous video I did, I said if a woman cannot get attention from a man, that means no meat and no sperm from men, then what she feels in her body is equivalent to a man tied down onto a railroad, unable to move, seeing the train a quarter mile away, hearing the train choo-choo, and the train's barreling toward them top speed and unable to stop. So man will feel super nervous, super hot, super uncomfortable, maximum discomfort with that train coming towards them, and women feel maximum discomfort when they're unable to extract meat nor sperm from any man. Because to be honest, the only way that's real is if there are no men around. Because if there is one man around, he's either going to be a simp or he's going to be a Chad. And like, women are programmed to trade the punani for resources anyways. And the resources are either they're going to trade the punani for meat to the beta dude, or they'll trade it to resource 1 is meat, resource 2 is sperm. Women are programmed to trade their punani for resource 1 or 2. So somehow they're going to be getting something from a man. Like there's no man around that's like, nah, I don't want the punani. You know. So that's why this maximum discomfort, and yeah, everything derived from our equation makes sense. And it's all correct. And yeah, I'm the only one in the universe that knows this. That's why you're here. So let's go to next pot. Oh, we did the meat's HorseShoe. All right. Go share my prenup. Oh, okay. I actually already went through this. Yeah. I went through the prenup and the divorce. So I did that already. All right, now some free game. Some free help to y'all, because I keep doing calls where men keep doing the incorrect stuff. Whenever your wife tries to argue with you or start some BS, hang up the phone instantly. Yeah, go and click that red button, and no, don't explain to her why you're hanging up. Do not respond to any more over text for like 24 hours or until the next day. If she tries to argue with you in person, simply get up and put your shoes on and leave for an hour to walk around, drive around, go to the gym, go to the library, sit in the Walmart parking lot, and see much better behaved she is when you come back home. Do not argue with her, remove your attention from her. Yeah, so remember, attention is the strongest weapon. It's the A in meat. Women need attention from men because it's the only way they can get resource 1, money, energy, or time, or resource 2, sperm. So if they're getting no attention, they literally go psycho. It's maximum discomfort for a woman. And literally, if you remove your attention from a woman, you activate her advanced chemical system to produce these certain death chemicals in her, aka maximum discomfort. I actually did this, and I started like giving one-word responses to my wife for like a week or 2. She was like so stressed. She like cleaned the refrigerator without me even asking her to, and she like showed it to me like, hey, come look at this. She bought me a bathrobe, put it down in front of the door when I came out of the shower. I just stepped over it. I didn't care. But she turned really, really nice for like those 2 weeks. This was like, I don't know, May or June. I filed for a divorce in August. Probably May. You know, I was still testing stuff at the time. So this is like May 2021. Just to see if I could get her behavior to improve. And no, it didn't. Alright, and then see how much better she behaves after doing this a few times. And then, after you do get good results doing this, your life becomes more bearable. Bring your credit card to me on Instagram so you can pay in full to keep most of your stuff in your divorce. 2 things I've forgotten our first graph. Alright, so going in here. I'm keeping all our assets here that 2 things I forgot. Can I open another paint? Alright. I don't think I can, but what I can do is I do want to preserve these amazing drawings. Zoom. Okay, do a little bit of that. And then So I do want to preserve these. And I make these part of our assets. You know, I put them in the Google Docs going forward. All right, so that's that dude. Here's the meatS equation. I'll do that one later. Here's the meatS HorseShoe. Zoom. Oh. Yeah, take a picture of this. And then I can finish this up fast. So yeah, back to the meatS equation. It can be a man, her. Or it can be a man, her. And actually I'll make this like here. And so if we go up from here, here's your meat, here's your sperm strength, or you can be a man here, where here's your sperm strength, and here's your meat. And I'll label these. So this would be capital S sperm. This would be a meat. And this will be a lowercase sperm. Oh, this one's actually capital meat. Large amount of meat here, it's probably a 70-30. So it's a 30% sperm strength. And this is a very small amount of meat, probably 10% meat here. Look at these equations and graphs. No one else in the universe has these. You get to be alive on the same planet at the same time as the #1 god of the universe. You have the luckiest life ever. Alright, so there's my awesome derivations. Yeah. Great. Okay, now I want to show you all this. And I'll bring my assets in here later. Two things I forgot in our first graph. Alright, so two things I forgot in this graph. Might have to decrease this font here. So this graph, this curve, attraction equals, this your woman's attraction towards you equals percent of behavior equals love equals respect. It also equals frequency of intimacy. It also equals man's happiness in the marriage/relationship. So yeah, your happiness in your relationship is exactly equal to, out of 10, how attracted your wife is towards you. And well, this is how it goes, so you're probably down on the curve somewhere here. But now, you got this graph, so you can decide, do you want to wait till past this point of no return where your wife files and you lose all your stuff, or do you want to divorce her here and actually keep most of your stuff? This actually looks pretty good. So these are the two things that I did forget before. So yeah, this curve here, 10 out of 10, frequency of intimacy, And then 10 out of 10, your happiness in the marriage / relationship after the honeymoon phase, after about 3.5 years, it's just gonna keep going down. Like, you know, you can end up being Will Smith and Jada Pinkett down here, or most likely Will Smith, because Jada's definitely giving that coochie to other dudes while being terrible to Will. Or you can do what I did, get out here, keep all your stuff, and have a great life. Alright, so that is the two things that I forgot. Surprise from our first graph. Okay, good thing you made it this far. The surprise is super important. So I'm going to show you what's going through your woman's brain when her behavior is changing. So let's imagine. So let's imagine we're in an airplane looking down. So we're top view. Here is the top view of your wife's head. So we're looking at it from above. And you know, she's probably got a ponytail or something. Alright, let's give her some brown hair. She's got a ponytail or something. Oh, I did that wrong. Alright, so here's her ponytail, which you can see from the sky. And now, I'll actually make her pink. Pink. Alright, so here's your woman. With her ponytail. And we'll make you over her light blue. Alright. Light blue. You're the man here. So, in the honeymoon phase, your woman is viewing you. I still can't believe there's no dotted line. This is your woman's view of you. We'll make it okay, we got that. We got this. I'll make her view of you pink. Of you pink. This is your woman's view of you. So she's seeing you like straight on your face. And as time goes on in the relationship, men don't change, like we're the same dudes. But what happens is women's attraction, aka feeling towards us, change. So what does that mean? So like here she's seeing head on your face. Like look at the camera right now, or look at my face right now. It's like what your wife's seeing in the honeymoon phase. It's your face. And then once she starts going down here, her point of reference towards you changes. AKA her point of reference towards everything about you, your behaviors, your smells, your habits changes. And again, attraction is the lever that the universe pulls. So the universe decreases attraction over time. I mean, you can see the graph. This is how it decreases it. So now she's here. And she needs her brown hair. Zoom. Brown ponytail. But now, her view of you is a little bit different. So you're still the same dude facing this way. You're facing, you know, your back is here in the east. Remember, we're top view. And you're facing directly to the west. But her view is now skewed a little bit. So look at my face. Now her view of you is like this. And this is what she's seeing. And she's like, he's changing. He's not the man. He's not the man I fell in love with. I fell in love with a man that looks like this, but now he's like this. And you keep going down, and then now you're past the point of no return. This is where the woman will file for divorce and take everything from you if she feels like it, or she'll just continue behaving bad, banging me on the side. And remember, you stay fixed here because men are fixed. Like, we don't change. We're the same dudes from day 1 to day 1,000. We've got our values and we don't change. And then down here, she's looking at you like this. So now you're the woman looking at me. It's like this, and she's sitting there like, oh, he changed. He only has one eye and one ear. I married a man that, and half a mouth. I married a man, or I fell in love with a man that was like this, a full face, 2 eyes, a nose, a mouth, and 2 ears. But now I'm here, and he's like one of those flat side fishes where I just see one of his face. He changed. He's not the man I've married. He's not the man I fell in love with. And yes, women know this curve. They know this. They have to hide it by blaming it on you, because if all men knew this curve, they would not be able to extract any meat, money, energy, attention, time from any man. Every man would simply use the woman for sex and ghost her like I do. That's why my women behave perfectly. But also, all throughout history, if a woman cannot extract meat from a man, what does that mean? They're going to die. They needed meat, money, or, dear meat, energy, attention, time from men in order to survive. And that's how you continue on. Continue on down this curve. This is how your woman's view of you changes. Even you're doing the same, you do the same X. Your wife is here, you do action X, because we're dudes, we stay the same, we don't change, we are who we are. Do the X here, she's 100% attracted to it. Do the X here, she's like 80% attracted to it, 20% it kind of disgusts her, gives her the ick. Down here, it's like, 90% it disgusts her, gives her the ick. Actually, it's probably 100% here. Here, and now this is a 27-year marriage over here. This is like 3-year marriage, or actually, you probably get married here. This is probably the 3-year marriage, or this might even be the 3-year marriage. Because I would say my wife is probably here. So this is probably the 3-year marriage here. This may be like a 7-year marriage, a 7-year itch. And over here is like a 27-year marriage. Hold on, gotta give her her ponytail. Now she's like totally facing the opposite way. Now her ponytail is this way. Oops. And now let's check out her view. So this is what you're experiencing in your relationship. So now here, it's like, this is what your wife's seeing. Something like that. I don't know what you can see, probably just like my ear here. And she's like, oh, I married a guy with, he had such a nice face, 2 eyes, a nose, a mouth, a beard. Now he lost his eyes. He has no eyes, he has no mouth, no nice teeth, no beard. His face got covered with hair, got consumed by hair, and just has 1 ear. He changed. I don't love him anymore. This is literally what's going on. So, what did I call this? The surprise. Alright, so I'm calling this the surprise. So this is the surprise you are all missing out on. It's literally, your wife is on this curve, her point of view of you is changing over time. While you're doing the same stuff, you're the same dude, and maybe you change it a little bit because she complains a little bit. You try to work with her, but you're the same dude. You're doing the same stuff, and even if you change a little bit, it doesn't matter. Even if you change, if you don't change, male-female relationships are programmed to end. Women know this. All women know this because all women know this graph. Because all throughout their life, they've lost feelings far before their men, boyfriends have. and they know when they've initiated breakups and divorces way, way, way more than a man has ever initiated against them. So women know this curve. That's why all women have backup men, because they know their current relationship they're in with you will end. 90% chance them ending it, because women file for a divorce on average 90% of the time. 10% of the chance you end it, but your wife will be much nicer to you if you end it first. Alright, so I'm going to bring this picture in as well. Get our assets up to speed. Alright, so that was a surprise. Literally your POV of your woman towards you. It's like her seeing, and she'll say, oh, he's changing. No, her feelings about you change because her reference point about you changed. Her feelings of you are her view of you. And they all come from her reference point of you. So because her reference point changed, that means her view of you changed, which means the view of who you are and what you do changed, which means as she feels about who you are and what you do has changed. AKA, her attraction goes down. And attraction is programmed to go down. That's the lever. And everything is attached to that lever. Her good behavior changed, her love for you changed, her respect for you changed, frequency she wants to be intimate with you changed, and also your happiness in the marriage / relationship changed. It's all because of this attraction chemical. It's only meant to be 3 to 4 years. But you've been lied to your entire life. That's why they're trying to trap you when everything's good in this honeymoon phase. And yeah, it would have continued. Honeymoon phase could have continued a little bit longer. Like, I think Brad Pitt, you know, it's like people will be boyfriend, girlfriend for 12 years, they'll get married, then they're divorced in 2 years. It's because, okay, they extended the honeymoon phase a little bit. But like, it's like definitely when you get married, the honeymoon phase is definitely over and this curve starts. Like I think Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie, how long did Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie date? 12 years, 6 children. Dated for 12 years. Alright, so 12 years, then their marriage of 2 years ended. So it was probably 12 years of, how many did they adopt? How many children did Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie adopt? Did they adopt 5? Okay, so they had 3. So you get like 1.5 year of honeymoon chemicals per child. So they had 3. So 3.5 years plus 1.5 times 3 is 3.5 years plus 4.5. So maybe he got like 8 years of honeymoon phase. Then maybe she slowly started going down. And then maybe he asked her to marry her, and then it dropped off a cliff. Like the cliff drop off happened right after they got married. So it happened to them over like 2 years, and then their divorce, all crazy wild stuff. So that means Angelina probably filed, because women hate it when they have to file first, because they have to explicitly acknowledge this graph that she left him, aka that women want to hide this graph. They want to hide that women leave men, which we now know because it's 90% on average file for divorce. But it's very scary to explicitly say this graph and do the actions that prove this graph correct. Because again, if all men knew this graph, no man would invest any meat into a woman after using her for sex, which is where I'm at. Therefore, no woman would have survived throughout history because they would not be able to get any meat out of the woman, out of the man. Again, a man investing in her after banging her, giving her deer meat, protection, provisioning, whatever. Alright, so that was the surprise. And now you should understand why you're doing the same stuff. Like, you've always been the same dude, but your wife is now hating what you do when she used to be fine with it or loved it because it's who you are. So no, you have been the same the entire time. Her reference point of how to view you has changed, and that's determined by her, where she is on this attraction graph. And attraction equals her percent good behavior towards you, her love for you, equals her respect for you, equals the frequency of intimacy she wants to give to you, equals your happiness in the marriage/relationship. So you can be like me, get out of this safely. Well, actually, let me see what we got here. Surprise, keep most of your stuff in your divorce with me. Yeah, I'm gonna have a video soon of my offer, everything about it, what it'll cost, blah blah blah, what we'll do, how we'll get you to keep most of your stuff in your divorce. We're gonna be using all these concepts from all these pictures, all these assets I keep creating to get you the W, get you to keep most of your stuff. So watch out for that video. I do have more of these hour-long vids I want to do, but I'll get the when I have the video of the offer, I'll put it in the explaining my offer, what I do, how I help. It'll be in the description, the first comment, pinned comment of this vid. And is there anything else? No, I'm gonna keep making these videos. I'll keep bringing these assets in as I derive them in Microsoft Paint. I'll list them here so we can keep using them. See, I'm deriving all this from zero, so you guys can see, how I, all the info I have, how I think through things. This is how I win. So yes, you'll have the #1 God of the universe on your team. Is there anything else I want to? No, that's it. Test out this stuff. I just know it works because women need attention. It's their oxygen. So by removing your attention from her, it'll trigger a change in behavior, at least for a little bit, until she reverts to this. The only way to get a permanent change in her behavior is to leave her. And it's, better to do that than wait for her to leave you, because she'll allow you to keep most or all of your stuff if you leave her. Because women respect men. Because if you leave her, that means you figured out this graph. Men don't leave women, and women know that. But if you base your life on this graph, she'll respect you. She'll basically give you whatever you want in the divorce. She won't destroy you. You can get it, can you get it done? Maybe you can get it done faster than me. After I served her, she signed in like 3 weeks. Maybe you can get it done faster. But women respect men that figure this out, because that means you got through the woman's lies. You got through being lied to your entire life. You found truth. So 1, you found truth. That's strong sperm. 2, you base your life choices off truth. That is also strong sperm. So you're double strong sperm. 2 here. 2 strong sperms. And so when you do the strong sperm stuff, wherever my assets are here, when you do the increase your sperm strength, we're up here, strong sperm, so you become more of this dude. She requires the low meat from you in your divorce. So alright, do want y'all to win. It's everything from the #1 God of the universe. Adios.